A night filled with tension and adrenaline, where the hearts of the spectators beat to the rhythm of the gloves that rose and fell. José Ribalta, nicknamed the Cuban Giant, emerged as an impenetrable wall against Iron Mike Tyson. Despite his modest stature, Tyson unleashed a storm of punches, each loaded with the force of thunder. The audience held their breath as the two titans faced off, their bodies dancing in a ballet of ferocity and strategy. Ribalta, with his granite jaw, resisted Tyson's onslaughts. Each impact echoed like a reverberation in the Colosseum, yet Ribalta stood defiantly. The crowd roared, torn between admiration for Tyson's skill and Ribalta's indomitable courage. The fight was a whirlwind of emotions. Tyson knocked Ribalta down 3 times, but the latter got up, stubborn as an oak. The crowd wondered if Ribalta could stand once more. And he did. Time and time again, like a tireless warrior, he returned to the center of the ring, defying fate. The great Iron Mike, with his fierce gaze, knew he was facing an exceptional opponent. Ribalta was not just an adversary, he was the embodiment of resilience, the epitome of unbreakable will. The audience clung to their seats, witnessing an epic that would transcend the pages of boxing history. And so, on that unforgettable night, José Ribalta earned the title of Tyson's worst nightmare. Not just for his tenacity, but for his ability to face the Titan and keep fighting. The boxing ring became an epic stage, where two men fought with honor and glory, leaving an indelible mark on boxing legend. The night of August 17, 1986 marked a milestone in boxing history. Mike Tyson and José Ribalta faced each other in the ring of the Trump Plaza Hotel in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Rudy Battle, the referee for the night, joined them in the ring, ready to officiate the fight. Jon Stewart, Phil Newman, and Richard Strange watched closely from the judges' table, prepared to determine the winner at the end of the scheduled 10 rounds, if the boxers' fists didn't decide the outcome sooner. Tyson, with an impeccable professional record of 25 victories, 23 of them by knockout, had no intention of tarnishing his record with a defeat. On the other hand, Ribalta entered the ring with a professional record of 22 victories, 15 by knockout, 3 defeats, and 1 draw. Though his record was modest, it showed the potential to be a formidable opponent. In the rankings, Tyson remained the number 1 heavyweight contender for the World Boxing Association and the number 2 for the World Boxing Council. Ribalta, on the other hand, held the 8th position in the World Boxing Association. The tension was palpable. The night promised an epic showdown. Who would emerge victorious? You'll see later on. Before the match, Ribalta stoked the flames of competition by dismissing Tyson as merely a strong fighter. He argued that Tyson lacked sports intelligence and relied solely on brute force to win fights. With the sound of the bell, it was time for the Cuban Giant to test his theory. As expected, Tyson started the fight with a right punch directly to Ribalta's cheek, marking the beginning of the first round. Tyson's offense was so brutal that Ribalta had no choice but to retreat and rely on his guard until he could figure out how to counter Mike. During the last 30 seconds, the Giant was cornered and punished with a combination of sudden punches that hit his body and face. Tyson continued to dictate the pace of the fight during the second round, and it seemed that Ribalta was having a harder time than expected finding a way to escape the difficult situation he was in. Entering the last minute, the situation became increasingly grim for Ribalta after being knocked down for the first time by a devastating uppercut that mercilessly hit his chin. The Cuban Giant got up immediately, but the mandatory count to 8 was carried out. The beast inside Tyson had already tasted blood and jumped in search of more as soon as the fight resumed. Ribalta's strength helped him survive the third round, although it was not an easy task. Although he occasionally counterattacked, he had to endure hard-bodied blows that Tyson threw to weaken his core while working to achieve his victory, ending up against the ropes on multiple occasions. The Cuban Giant, Ribalta, had lost another round on the judges' scorecard. From the beginning of the fourth round, he was seen retreating, trying to create distance between himself and Tyson, who had become his executioner. What Ribalta seemed to overlook was that by retreating too much in a confined space, he reached the limits, making the ropes Mike's best tool, in addition to his fists, to punish him. No matter what happened, Ribalta was always standing at the start of a new round. During the 5th round, halfway through the 10 scheduled rounds, he remained steadfast, absorbing Mike's relentless attacks, who began to struggle with himself, trying to give his all to bring down the highly resistant Cuban giant. Despite all the accurate punches Tyson had landed so far, Ribalta seemed far from being defeated. By the 6th round, Mike's frustration led him to throw a couple of punches after the bell announcing the end, to which Ribalta responded from the ropes before Rudy Battle ordered him to stop. In a fight that seemed to be stabilizing, everyone began to wonder if the judge's decision would really be necessary. Starting the 7th round, it was inevitable not to feel exhaustion for Tyson, especially after it was the first time that getting a victory demanded so much from him. It was precisely the moment for Iron Mike to demonstrate sports intelligence, setting aside the impulse of brute force to continue fighting to break the Cuban giant without exhausting himself enough to become increasingly vulnerable as the seconds passed. The 8th episode brought a big surprise. The audience cheered for José as a show of respect for standing up to Tyson's brutal attacks. However, Mike took this as inspiration to intensify his offensive and press Ribalta with strong punch combinations, making him dance around the ring, almost pushing him out of the ring, had it not been for the ropes holding him, demonstrating his great resilience. The Cuban Titan stood up as soon as his own weight allowed him to, determined to continue facing his fate in the fists of the executioner, who showed less and less mercy for him. Ribalta seemed on the verge of collapse at any moment during the 9th round, but he stood standing until the sound of the closing bell. The judge's decision was just around the corner. He only had to endure 3 more minutes. The beast inside Tyson, hungry for victory, became impatient and demanded not to wait for the judge's decision. He attacked Ribalta with everything he had as soon as the opening bell of the 10th round sounded. Ribalta tried to gain some time by clinging to Mike's body amid his cruel offensive, hoping that Rudy Battle would intervene to put some distance between them. After the first minute of the episode, his strategy would become unusable after a powerful left punch made him fall backwards on the canvas in a resounding manner. Rising immediately and receiving the mandatory count to 8, his fate had already been sealed by deciding to continue with the fight. Backed against the ropes, he was a victim of a last combination of punches from the beast that served to highlight his inability to defend himself and forced Rudy Battle to stop the fight, declaring the Great Iron Mike the winner by technical knockout at 1 minute and 37 seconds of the 10th round. The outcome of this tough battle became the second knockout defeat in the professional career of the Cuban giant, who went down in history for being the first great challenge for young Mike Tyson. Ribalta's courage earned him Tyson's respect, who said in the post-fight interview that he had come to fight and congratulated him for it. Mike also pointed out that Ribalta did a great job trying to defend himself to the point of making him feel uncertain about waiting for the judge's decision. Despite achieving his victory by technical knockout, Mike described the fight as a bad night for not being able to leave him lying on the canvas. The showdown between Mike Tyson and José Ribalta was an event that left its mark on the careers of both boxers. For Tyson, this fight was a test of his endurance and ability to face a formidable opponent. Despite his victory, Tyson acknowledged that Ribalta was the strongest opponent he had faced in his career. Tyson commented that he hit Ribalta with everything he had, and Ribalta took it all and kept asking for more. Despite his victory by technical knockout, Tyson described the fight as a bad night because he couldn't leave Ribalta lying on the canvas. On the other hand, Ribalta demonstrated remarkable resilience and courage during the fight. Despite the defeat, his performance in the ring earned him the respect of Tyson and many spectators. Ribalta continued his professional career after this fight, and although he suffered a second knockout defeat, his performance against Tyson is remembered as a milestone in his career. In retrospect, this fight was a testament to the tenacity, resilience, and fighting spirit of both boxers. Despite the difficulties and challenges, both Tyson and Ribalta proved their worth in the ring, leaving an indelible mark on boxing history. Ultimately, this fight underscores the importance of perseverance, resilience, and courage, not only in boxing but also in life. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell. This way, you'll stay updated on more exciting content and won't miss any details of the most epic boxing matches in history. See you in the next video.